There is a problem that in the pure libertarian sense, you have this idea that there should be an unrestricted movement of human beings under the guise of sort of trans-global individual liberty.
Yes.
And by the way, Al-Qaeda thinks that's just a dandy idea.
Well, we're trying to keep Al-Qaeda out. We agree on that.
But what about the liberty of just the poor guy here in America who is struggling to find a job, to keep a job, to have wage credibility, and he is in a downward spiral of job opportunities and wages because of excess levels of legal immigration. The application of liberty may not be a zero-sum game, but let's face it, there are consequences to excessive levels of unregulated legal immigration.
Yeah, Veronique, you took some economist's job, or some economist gets paid less because you're here.
I think the data is overwhelmingly showing that I increased actually economic growth, but the issue is actually not even me. The beauty of immigration is like even low-skilled immigrants are actually good for this economy. They are benefiting not only high-skilled people like me or like all of the people working in Washington, D.C. because they mow their lawn and they watch their children, but also lower-skilled laborers, because this is not a zero-sum game. The economy can expand. And in fact, the data is very clear. I actually think this is pretty much a no-brainer.
So if an immigrant paints my house, somehow we're all richer because the rest of us can specialize on something else?
Yes, actually one of the things one of the ways is because he's cheaper, he makes prices much lower, prices of construction much lower for all of us.
Bob, that's been my understanding, that by this flexibility of a labor market, everything costs less and we can get richer.
You know, what you're focusing on is the gross domestic product. For example, if we were to provide and grant an amnesty to 12 million illegal aliens, yes, the GDP, the total sum of all goods and products manufactured in the United States would grow. But
because they'd stop hiding and they'd report more income.
Well, the more people you have, the bigger the GDP gets. But that's an abstract metric. It doesn't mean anything. It means squat for John Q. Public. Because when you flood the market with 12 million heavily government-dependent, lowly skilled, low-end jobs, the GDP is rising. But John Q. Public's opportunities for jobs and meaningful growth of his middle-class wages are eroding.
What would you do with the 12 million people who are here?
You remove them, John, as they are identified as by law, and you otherwise allow them to leave voluntarily of their own accord. If we had the incentives in place to dry up the jobs magnet, they would self-deport. It would be attrition through...
Deport them or make it so hard for them to work that they leave on their own.
You dry up the veritable honeypot of benefits and the access to the smorgasbord of benefits, including sanctuary cities, driver's licenses, in-state tuitions, and my job and yours.
I mean, the idea that we can keep people out who want to come in is one that in practice has never worked. I mean, the government is spending more money on border security than it ever has, and people are still coming in. That we can deport everyone is a myth that actually rests on the idea.
Just deport them.
It rests on the idea that first, the government can do anything correctly, if that was the goal, and second, and by the way, if we're worried about the welfare state, I mean, to me that is an argument to get rid of the welfare state rather than keeping people out. I mean, if you're worried...
To be clear,